also inviting Tom JOHANSMEYER. He is Global Head of Index Classes for INVER in Bermuda and passionate about cyber risks. Mr. Valentin JURCUT, Head of Market Unit for Future Healthcare Romania. You heard from him earlier. Dmitry, KAIUTENKO, Head of Customer Intelligence Practice for ASSISTO Consulting in UK, and Cristian FILIMON, Director of Insurance Division, Life is Hard, Romania. So here is a panel of people dealing and with the digitalization trend in our markets and helping pushing it ahead, let's say so. Here is Tom, who is in fact specialist in cyber risks, and so he will show us the reverse of the coin, let's say. And Bojan, who can talk with us about the CE trends regarding digitalization. I would like to start with Dmitry and Cristian FILIMON and say that, okay, digital transformation is already since many years taking a central role in all the discussion concerning the region's evolution, etc., etc. And they have affected a lot of the operations in the insurance business. All the sectors of the operational parts of the business. Should you choose, I don't know, 2, 3 things that were maybe the most relevant in this transformation after the last year's experience, what these things would be?
All right. Can you hear me? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, well, obviously there have been a lot of things, a lot of changes in the market recently, but I would choose the 2 biggest ones that we have observed across the whole Europe, not just in Romania. The first one is the one which I have already mentioned during my presentation, is the shifting of the focus on allowing direct communication to the customers, because if you take the old world, what we also call the analog world, especially before the COVID times, everything was done by humans. And insurance companies became very dependent on intermediaries, the brokers, the agents, on concluding the majority of the deals. And as a result, they basically lost the direct contact with the customers. And what started happening during the COVID times, when the possibility to meet in person was diminished significantly, they got the chance, thanks to the advancements in technology, to regain that ownership back, to be able to communicate with the customers directly. And digital channels, such as the ones that I have been talking about, but the other ones like the websites, social media and stuff, they help a lot with that. But when we consider the usage of digital channels, there are some challenges, because on one hand, they are much quicker and more accessible than arranging a meeting with an intermediary or a broker. On the other hand, they should not be intrusive, because this is what a lot of companies are doing. They are overusing the channels, overusing the communications of the customer, sending too many communications or sending non-personalized communications. And as a result, then they just are losing meaning and not achieving anything at all. So in order to utilize them properly, those digital channels to communicate to the customers, they have to become truly personalized. So basically, the goal that we see being undertaken by a lot of industries, not just insurance, this is also being done by other industries. We can see that in the automotive industry, we can see this in FMCG, in clothing, and as well, is to create direct contact to the customer by making the digital channel kind of like a concierge service, where the customer can address the brand directly and then use the digital channels to get all the necessary information as quickly as possible. So this is the first thing, in my opinion, so regaining ownership of the customer by utilizing digital channels for that. The second thing, the big change that we see in some markets is the change in the granularity and diversity of products. So as we heard some of the presenters say in the past, we tried to focus on creating a one-size-fits-all solution, which would fit most of the customer segments these days. More and more companies are focusing on creating specifically tailored solutions for subsegments and micro-segments of customers. And one of the examples of that is splitting the products into smaller parts, which allow the customer to choose the things that are specifically needed for them. And this actually gives us a great opportunity to sell a wider range of products by utilizing the digital channels. And I will explain the reason for that. So if you take specifically the online insurance policies, often what you can see that you will have a lot of checkboxes, a lot of options that you can choose when you're buying a certain insurance policy. But that usually doesn't work, because if you combine all those little pieces together, the cost adds up very quickly, which creates a high barrier for the user to pay that all at once. So a good strategy that we can see is what you can do is you can offer the base product in the beginning, and then if you have the direct connection to the customer using certain digital channels, you can slowly upsell these little bits and pieces on top of that. Because if you, for example, if you take, again, I like the example of travel insurance. If you see that the customer belongs to a subsegment of people who are active in sports, and you see that they're going to travel and do some risky sports, if you offer additional sports coverage or accident coverage in the beginning, they will probably think, well, nothing's going to happen, all is going to be good, and they will just discard that option. But if you have selected the target segment correctly, and you do that later, closer to the trip or during the trip even, then this barrier to agree to purchase this additional insurance for a fraction of the cost compared to the original basis one will be much lower. So this is another change.
Okay, so I understand on one hand, it's a flight to personalization, let's say, and the second, you name it first, is the way of communicating with clients. Okay, that would be two. So, Cristian, in your opinion?
So English, yeah? I can speak Romanian, but my colleagues...
As you prefer, but...
No, I will speak in English. So it's clear it's about the customer experience. This was after pandemic, and during the pandemic was, I think, a very important thing because of remote work. Yeah, customers stayed home, our consultants, agents stay home, so they need a communication channel, digital platforms to issue the policies and to be able to communicate with the insurance agencies to issue that policies. Also was the help of insurance in Romania, insurance companies was important during this because they fast adapt their processes. You know, before the pandemics in Romania was paper-based insurance issuing, so it was hard and very fast adoption of digital signature. So going digital was, let's say, one of the points. Mobile apps, it's clear we see a lot of development, and I like your solution with cards because now in the market we have a lot of mobile apps, but let's say each insurance have some app for claims, for issuing the policies, or maybe to allow the clients to interact with them. But let's say it's a very fragmented market. It's not one common solution to go there and to be very easy for the clients. Also, in this period, during this data collection, you can also develop products personalization. So you can see now a lot of let's say, it's harder in English for me, patterns, yeah, that the clients, and you mentioned already that if that client is in one group, you can also develop something special for them, and micro insurance. So telematics.
A lot
of things, but telematics is one of the important things because of this adoption of digital during the pandemics. The clients they are open to this telematics, but also this comes with risks, and I think you will discussing about cyber risk and what risks they have and how to prevent it, and a lot of things, like you said.
I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, that Life is Hard is involved in very specific digitalization processes, very in the inner processes of the insurers or the insurance brokers. And from that standpoint, would you agree that maybe the industry can get digitalized only as much as the country is getting digitalized and the legislation is allowing it? I think, for instance, it was a discussion earlier that one of the main advantages of a digital product would be if you can make an interrogation for an offer, very simple, without needing to put tens of data there and fill out lots of, that means that somewhere in the background should be some databases allowing this extraction of this data automatically. But databases in Romania are not linked between them, most of them. So this doesn't work. Is this a limitation?
It's a legal limitation, clear. You know that 24 Broker, our product, our platform, it's used by more than 40% of the market. So more than 40% of the insurances in Romania are issued through our platform. So let's say we have a very representative or critical database with us, we know. But of course, the legislation and the owner of that database, it's the insurance company together with the brokers. So it's about the legal things in the end. But yes, our solution can provide this data analytics to help insurance company or brokers to adapt for the needs of the client. Clear.
Yes, thank you. Let's go to the third provider, which is obviously directly related with the health insurance field. Okay, it's obvious that after the pandemic, digitalization in health insurance was more than useful. Now, with the fast developing of the AI, artificial intelligence segment, things are once again changing. And there are new capabilities, but also new risks. From your health insurance perspective, what do you comment about that?
Of course, there are a lot of opportunities, but I show in the presentation that financial and health industries are using the least, the lowest usage. It's within those two industries, which at the end, it's a huge opportunity. I'll give you one simple example. Our platform now it's unifying the network with the insurer and with the customer. A simple example, it's pre-authorization of appointment. Can be done within seconds with two or three questions. But this is one simple example which can improve because, okay, you have machine learning and within 3 months, 6 months, depending on the data, the number of data, this can be done like this. So basically, instead of staying in a queue, you fill in your own data and then you have authorization for an appointment, or consultancy, whatever, I think it's English consultant when you go to the doctor, no matter the specialty. So you are covered or not. This is a simple example. You don't need to queue for minutes in a call center. One simple example. On the other hand, let's face it, in Romania, because I'm somehow referring to Romania, it's a matter of investment anyone is willing to do in terms of IT infrastructure, because it's very important to be able to capture the data and to be able to use the data in order to improve the performance of the company and the experience of a customer. And I'll give you also, by the way, to regulation, one simple example. It's a standard in the health industry, which is called IDC-10. Basically, it's the standard, so any kind of, it's global standard. So if you are doing an appointment on ultrasound, you have tons of examples on abdomen or head or whatever you do the ultrasound and some, but in Romania, this is not used. So basically the same operation in each network, you are going to see it A, B, C, D, so there is no standardization. So this is a prerequisite in order to have the automation, because the computers today can learn whatever you want to learn, but at the end, if there is no standardization, the result will be more and more complicated, complex, and will take longer to learn. So it's a huge potential. There is technology, but it's also the willingness to improve, and here it's within each player on the market. So the network, the insurers, and even the customers. Because at the end, let's face it, the customer, some of them are not willing to wait and answer 3 questions. They love free text, but free text, it's not that easy, or it takes a bit longer to train the machine to learn free text.
Well, none of the system is an island, so it should work with the entire complex in the health system for you, in the car databases and the insurance and accident databases and so on for motor insurance and so on and so forth. So here is a difficult point. What about the other risk, Tom? Because I'm looking at it, you are waiting there. So all good, a lot of opportunities, almost anything that one can imagine may be improved and may happen. What about of the other side of the coin?
You mean the threats that come with doing all this great efficient digitalization? So I guess cyber threats are proof that no good deed goes unpunished. On the other hand, I don't know how, let's be simple. What you're afraid of is not nearly as bad as you think. If you use Hollywood to drive your cyber risk management, you're definitely doing it wrong. Here's the deal. As we become more digitized and more connected, it helps to remember that you have to be smart. You put locks on your doors and windows. You put locks on your file cabinets. Why wouldn't you put locks on your systems? And increasingly, people are getting better and better about this. And I think a bit of responsibility goes a long way. And the reality is, if you think you're being targeted in this world by the bad actors out there, you're really not. You know, one could say you're not as important as you think you are, and that would be true. But more realistically, pinpoint cyber attacks are very difficult to achieve. They require a lot of research, a lot of planning, a target that has the right vulnerabilities. And if they don't, you've got to find and develop them. And then you have to think about, you know, whether you're worth that sort of effort. I think I saw last year there's about $1 billion in turnover by ransomware gangs, which is certainly more money than I've ever seen in one place. But on the other hand, is that a terrifying amount at risk? Not really. And what happens is these are crimes of opportunity. As the lone broker up here, I will say with pride that the ransomware business itself is intermediated with a lot of people providing service to their clients, lest we not forget the importance of brokers. But what happens is you've got a lot of cost, you've got a lot of steps in the supply chain, and it all comes down to, ooh, let me go out and see what I can find. All right, I've got a pharmaceutical company in Switzerland here. I've got a vulnerability for a manufacturer in the US there. And then you develop and exploit and sell those vulnerabilities to bad actors who use them to make a living. The fact that they're looking for you in particular, no, that requires state actor expertise. And let me tell you, if you're a state actor looking to affect cyber attacks, you're not looking for kind of mid-market companies. You're really looking to go after other state actors as well. And you're not the lone academic up here. I'm half an academic. I'm doing a PhD in my spare time on the cyber insurance protection gap is an economic security problem. So the beauty of it is patch your systems, use good passwords, change them every now and then, hire some experts to make sure you've got the locks you need, and you'll be fine. And by the way, get some cyber insurance because you never know, you could be hit. And if you are, cyber insurance is what you use to recover quickly. And if you're not writing cyber insurance yet, industry loss ratios in a bad year are mid-60s. So you could do worse.
What about cyber insurance in our region, Bojan? On one hand, okay, many of the markets in the region are less developed than the mature markets and also less advanced in the digitalization process. But the second thing, it's also cyber insurance is less popular either among insurers and potential customers.
Yeah.
Not very much requested. How do you comment?
Well, yeah, cyber insurance is still not that relevant in that region. First of all, also there is a problem with we don't have enough digital infrastructure, you know, and also all the time we can see, especially in the public institutions, cyber attacks. And no one questions, okay, what do we do about that? Do we take some prevention measures? Do we buy cyber insurance? Insurers, do they say interest to buy, to offer cyber insurance? So do they have enough data? So they don't have enough data to estimate. You know, that is the biggest problem with the cyber insurance. So especially in the local markets. So I think there are many constraints. So even the sitting, we started with the opportunities and we are coming with the negative tone coming from here.
It's an opportunity, actually. So I'd stay on, as a positive on this one, Bojan. What's really interesting is that the problem here could be one of capacity. Most people don't realize this, but more than 50% of cyber insurance worldwide is ceded to reinsurers. So to help grow a market here, it really becomes a reinsurance question. And further interesting is that the notion of diversification very much applies to cyber.
Yeah.
And what, 60%, a little more than 60% of worldwide cyber insurance outstanding is in English-speaking countries. And that's where the attacks are generally pointed by state actors. To find global reinsurers who'd want to back CEE and even specifically Romanian insurers, call me.
Very well, gentlemen, we are approaching the end of this session. I would like your help to discuss very, very, very briefly in a few words about two myths, okay? First, for you, the solution providers. It is too expensive for a company to enter this digital transformation. Everything is very expensive. Right or wrong?
From my point of view, absolutely, well, I wouldn't say absolutely wrong, but not right. Because, well, from our company's point of view, ASSISTO Consulting, we definitely understand that not all companies can invest in all of that infrastructure, with all the data infrastructure and the channel integration infrastructure, and there are players of different sizes. So there are ways and solutions on the market which allow you to start small and then build up step by step by adding additional layers. Of course, the basic part, the most important part is the data. You have to work on your data quality, to access the data the right way. And this is the basis layer. But once you have that, then adding additional layers, be it analytics, machine learning, connectivity to channels, digital channels, omnichannel customer journey orchestration, those things don't have to happen all at once. They can be built step by step, very slowly. And from the cost point of view, it then can be quite manageable, I would say.
Do you agree?
Partially. It's not cheap, but there are two prerequisites. One is to look at the return, because, okay, it's very relative. It's 100,000 euro was a figure. It's a lot or not. You need to look at the benefits. So it's the return of any investment you are doing. Second, at least to Romanian market, which I understand decently well, it's also the, let's say, the political willingness. And when I'm referring to political, is the management of each player. Because at the end, yes, it's a hassle. You need to do a lot of things to transform yourself as a company, going from it's a lot of inertia, let's put it this way. But with those two prerequisites, I think, generally speaking, worse. Anyway, you don't have other option. It's either you are a follower or you are the trendsetter. It's up to each company to set its own path.
Cristian?
It is an investment, because you cannot stay in this place. You have to invest for the future, for your customers, and for your future base of the products. So you need data analyze, like you mentioned before. So it is, you have to budget it, but it is an investment for the future.
Okay. Then to our other friends, we have already talked about this in Vienna, Tom. It is often heard here from many potential customers for cyber insurance, small, medium companies, that are saying, okay, I'm too small to be a victim of cyber attacks and doesn't count. It's not for me. It's too complex and I don't need it. Is it right or not?
It's absolutely incorrect. That's like saying my house is too small to worry about an earthquake. The earthquake doesn't care. Likewise, everyone's exposed and it helps to take action. And if you're a small company, my father had a small business for years, and he and I spoke a lot about this. And his big question was, if I get hit, what do I do next? And when you think about insurance in this regard, insurance is what you do next, right? That's the capital you use to recover. Instead of having to dip into your earnings, or, it could be as simple as, do I have to do everything myself to fix it? Or with my insurance recovery, can I hire some people to help me get started so I can spend my time with my customers, making sure they stay with me? Do you need it if you're small? Yeah, just like you need property, just like you need motor, excuse me. You need it, you should look at it. And realistically, if you don't use it, good. And if you do need it, it's good to have it there.
One said here, one of my friends, that insurance maybe is the only product you buy and you are happy not to use.
Also my helmet.
Yeah, yeah. Just to close up, Bojan.
Final words, I think, especially for our region, it's not a problem about funding digital solutions. I think the CEOs of all companies, because mainly they're coming from big groups, they will tomorrow accept to implement digital solution. But there are many constraints, and the local context is very important. So will you implement a digital solution if you have low digital skills environment? That means you will exclude some of the customers that you have. So you need to be aware what is your population, where you are selling your products. So that's why are very important. Even Mihai, I think, mentioned there will be hybrid transition from traditional to digitalize, because these markets, it's different population, different characteristics. So I think still the brokers and agents will play very important role in these markets because the characteristics of the population are different. So
Totally agree.
yeah.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.